All right, welcome to the LCS post-game live. We're going to be breaking down the action here from day one in week 4. I'm joined, of course, by Alex Fries-Knizhnik, Martin Fischer-Lunger, and Schalke's mid laner Nuke Duck.
Wait, did you actually pronounce his last name, or did you just say Knizhnik?
Hold on. If I get the K and the Z and the last K, I can mumble in between every other letters, and people will believe me. Of course, if you're watching us, keep in mind NALCS Academy is going to be starting right after PGL. But in the meantime, Nuke Duck, the late game LeBlanc player. Talk to me about this game. Talk to me about the LeBlanc pick.
Yeah. I think LeBlanc is pretty good against Zoe, you know, because I'm so mobile. And I felt like in that game I should have picked like a mobile champion, you know, rather than, you know, the standard Malzahar counter. I felt it would be like way harder for me to play. So yeah, I just...
Yeah, they early picked Zac. Like they first picked Zac, so you gotta pick something that can dodge the ganks, because with Malzahar you just get jab on and...
Yeah, and they had the GP with the W and everything. So yeah, I thought... I was watching the replay, yeah.
It's just a bunch of late game fights. I think we had like 40 of these in the game.
Yeah.
This one, sadly, for Schalke was the worst, the last one. I'm not sure what Vander tried to do.
I think he tried to save Chachi.
Yeah.
Oh, but he had, okay, he came in with upset in his belly, and then his upset jumped out instantly. Yeah.
It was a tragedy.
What happened there? What happened, Yuto? Come on.
I mean, in this one, you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, like... I mean, it was kind of like Chachi was like top, and he's like, oh shit, they're coming for me, I need help. And then he was like, okay, I'm out. It's like, oh no, I'm time ulting. And then like we just like we're not definitely like not on the same page. And we didn't even see like that play coming from them. So this was actually like quite a disaster. Yeah.
We heard it from Perks and Yankos. They were kind of calling this game a clown fiesta. And Fischer, you kind of brought up earlier that it felt like this game was over 4 or 5 times in a row, where it's like either team could have maybe ended the game, but it just kept swinging back and forth.
It was super back and forth. I mean, I get it, you know, pro player thing called the clown fiesta instantly because it is so back and forth.
Personally, I thought it was hype.
I thought it was super hype game to watch. I thought a lot of the times when the game turned around, it was kind of based on an outplay coming from someone like in the bot lane, the Perks, you know, Q onto Nuke Duck between the minions that suddenly brought you back in the game.
Outplay.
Hey, come on, he had to shoot that through a minion wave. That was pretty cool. And some of the team fights, like, there were just some really good plays happening from both sides that kind of kept the game going. And sure, there'll always be some mistakes happening, but I thought a lot of this game actually had a lot of cool setups. Like the 1-3-1 on one side, the counter to it in terms of death balling 5-man mid on the other side, just kind of going at each other. To me, it was super entertaining. And again, I know pro player speak, but I wouldn't call this a clown fiesta. I've seen way worse clown fiestas. Let me just say that.
We can talk about your history of 80-minute games in the LCS.
Yeah, we've had a lot of those.
Literal clown hats. But I think still I want to kind of go back to this mid lane matchup. We take a look at the player of the game. Perks did win out with 59% of the vote. However, just this mid lane matchup, towards the end there, it felt like it was you versus Perks, right? Who would actually have more impact in these fights? You're both playing these kind of one-shotty champions on the edge. Did you feel that in the game, or is that just my impression kind of coming from the outside?
Definitely, like both champions are like super conditional, so that the one that will like fight with their condition met is like usually gonna deal the damage. So I mean, it was either me like assassinating someone or him hitting like max range Qs. Yeah, and those stopped us from ending the game, like I think like 2 or 3 times. Just like we could end the game, and we were calling like care for Zoe, and then all of a sudden it's like shit, we're 1 HP, like we have to back.
Yeah, I was always like, all right, they'll finish the game then, and then the only way they will not finish the game is if Upset is gonna get killed by Zoe, and then bam, 8-10 HP from the Zoe Q. So that was very like Perks versus Nuke Duck game, you know, like who's gonna make more safe gaming plays.
Yeah, it was so back and forth. It felt like a little bit of an emotional roller coaster, but of course one team that is starting to find their form is Fnatic. They pulled off some pretty insane team fights.
Switching over to another
going
team.
up against Unicorns of Love. Yeah, I want to talk about this matchup. And Freeze, I want your impression of Reckless in this game. Nuke Duck, did you get to catch this one coming in?
Yeah, I watched just the whole game. Yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
So Freeze, what did you actually think of Reckless's performance in this game?
Well, he plays safer than I would like to, but then again, you know, like he plays this.
That's why he's in the LCS and you're not.
Well, I get that's true. But then once he got 4 items, he just snowballed out of the mine, and with 4 items, you know, Sivir is hyper carry. It crits once or twice on the backline with W. Everyone's half HP, and they just roll over.
Man, you make it sound so simple.
I mean, yeah. Sivir with 4 champions in front of her who can dive the enemy backline, I think it gets a little bit easier to play it. But Nuktak, I actually want to know from you, because you watched the game. Yeah. When you saw the Fnatic draft, did you instantly feel also like once this got to late game, they would just kill the backline of Unicorns Love like every single time? Or did you feel like Unicorns had a lot of ways to still outplay it?
I felt like they had like, I mean, I think Galio is like pretty OP when someone can go in, so I actually felt that as well, that it would, like, even though they have the Corki for scaling, I didn't think there was actually any way for him to deal damage if they like do a proper like Vladimir flank. Like, you just flash goes in, get Galio ult, and there is no way they're gonna even auto-attack.
I think it was a good look overall. Do we feel like Fnatic are getting better? In your opinion, Freeze, is this Fnatic shaping up, playing more as a team, or are we still seeing some of the same cracks that we saw in previous weeks?
Well, Sivir is a champion that doesn't really spend much time in the side lane, because once she gets there, she clears the wave instantly. So she just clears the wave and just goes with the steam again. So that was perfect for Reckless, you know. And then you get the movement speed, so when you're grouped, you're easy making plays with it. And we saw the success. It was good.
It was still very back and forth.
Well, it was back and forth.
I'm not saying you're wrong at all. I definitely agree with the push for Sivir, and then group is good for Reckless.
But I like that we have an answer to getting Reckless out of the side lane. The answer is give him more wave clear, so there's no reason
there's
for
no
him
minions
to
kill. You have to leave.
You have to find a different lane now.
Well, he can still be there. You know, he can just still be hugging or waiting for other lane.
I guess
follows the minions.
The Sivir hiding in a brush doesn't happen too often. I mean, the game actually had a lot of moments where Unicorns. Like,
well, they should have won the game.
They got like a 22-minute Baron where Fnatic without Soaz there were tower diving in the mid lane and then end up getting jumped on after, and they lost like 3 members plus the Baron. So it wasn't clean per se. I just think the Fnatic team fighting with their comp, like they executed that properly in the late game and didn't give Unicorns a real chance to get back. And of course, Reckless had a great game on Sivir as well.
Was an impressive performance. I want to take a look at our next match. It was the match of the week. Giants coming up with a solid comeback to take down Misfits Gaming.
Every time, man.
Second place for themselves. Amazing. If you're listening, you're the only person who predicted right. The rest of us have to bow our heads in shame. But Nuktak, I haven't gotten to talk to you about this matchup. Would you have bet on Giants to pull this one out, or would you have put it on Misfits?
I mean, Misfits is kind of the favorite, but I really like what Giants got going, you know. I feel like they actually play like very well together, and like especially Joko, I think, is playing so well. So I thought it was closer than like what like the predictions were, at least.
They were very one-sided. It was one Giant, so yeah, it was a little one-sided. And when I look at this game, I think, one, we're seeing Giants really shape up, and it's being proven every time that they are a team that can fight incredibly in the late game. But on the opposite side, for Misfits, what went wrong here? It feels like they had a very clear plan in mind when they came into this game, when they drafted the way that they did. But where did it actually fall apart? Because they were ahead for a very large period of the game.
We've had a few games now where Misfits are drafting a comp that can get ahead in the mid game, and they do it. They don't get to then. I mean, it's hard because 100% remember the game at the moment, but they do slow down a lot when it comes to then saying, okay, we need a Baron now to actually break into a base against 5 million wave clear champions, and that's kind of one of the problems with the meta is how hard it is to finish games. And I think like this draft is an example. To me, late game they would struggle. The Rengar one-shot combo is hard to pull off in teamfights consistently. And the S rule from Mansama, as Freeze highlighted, meant that he couldn't be the same carry we've seen in some of the other games. So once we got full to late game, Giants comp just kind of took over to me. And we've seen a few times, and we need to go back and rewatch why exactly Misfits end up slowing down in the mid game. Is it just against a million wave clear champions, it's just so hard to finish it, or is there something they can do different? Because there probably is. It's probably both things. A lot of wave clear, but also something Misfits needs to do better to finish games.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like the kind of the cracks in the strategy they're trying to bring to the table. The last matchup that I want to look at is Vitality versus Roccat. 2 strong teams battling it out. Vitality are at the top. We thought this would be a Roccat win for sure, but an absolutely insane finish to close it out.
The TP from 80 carry, dude.
Yeah, okay, so I'm curious. If Schalke won the game like this, do you walk away from that game like, we did good? How do you feel if you come out of a game like that?
I mean, it's kind of like our game. I think it was like, I mean, you won the game and you can be happy, but I'm pretty sure they have some stuff to look at still, you know. And I think even in this game, Roccat had like a couple of like 2-3 times they could have actually ended the game, but they just decided to like group with their split push comp or something like that.
I want to hear your opinion about Vitality, though, because they are sitting #1 at the moment. They only lost 1 game, and they beat you guys.
We ranked them #1 as well on our tier list. And do you think that they have the #1 spot right now, standing?
Also based on just like scrims and everything, not just on stage.
No, right. We actually never scrimmed them.
Oh.
But I mean, from what I've seen on stage and from us playing against them, like we got kind of rolled over. Like we had a decent early game, but from mid game and onwards, they had like full control against us. So I think it's really fair to like rate them #1. They win like every game, and I mean, yeah, they play really well, I think.
And their player of the game was Mini Trupax, I think, mostly due to, you know, the last 30 seconds of the game. I think even if he had
that's kind of how you get MVP, I guess.
If you chain feed the entire game, but then backdoor the Nexus, you win. I think that's how the rules go for MVP. But I want to know if this is an improvement on the Roccat side, because it was still technically a loss, but we talked about them being in control multiple times during the game, and against Vitality, who we are kind of agreeing is the top team. Is this good for Roccat? Can Roccat fans have some confidence in this, even if it is a loss in the end?
Well, I wouldn't give it to Roccat all the way through, because we saw on Vitality that they're confident winning with playing aggressively early game, playing early game comps, and now they're so comfortable with their standings that they're experiencing with their comps, right? They're playing late game, they're focusing on late game, they even said in interviews. So it would be 50-50 for me, for Roccat and for Vitality experimenting.
I think with Roccat, I love the fact they were split pushing, like, to win the game. You know, flanking one side, profiting the other one, kept running away from fights, they kept abusing the Rise combo, which luckily is gone, so we don't have to witness that one again. But I think they played that part of the game pretty well, but they had to also rely on 2 Baron steals on the side of Memento to stop Vitality from ever actually pushing out of their base and taking some of Rocket's base. So in that case, it got pretty hard to judge if Roccat were in control, or it was more like they got a Baron steal, so now the split push is way stronger and Vitality can't really push forward, and that's how Roccat kind of kept the game going in their favor. Because those were 2 big steals from Memento's side. It
felt like that way. Newtek, I'm curious what your impression is about where you think Roccat kind of stack up in the teams. Is this a playoff contender? Is this a top team? Are they more near the bottom of the pack? Where do you actually think they rank right now?
Well, I think they could play a lot better than they did, because they have, you know, the split push comp, and this was like a classic scenario, you know, when there's the teamfight comp and the split push comp, and the teamfight comp goes to Baron. And if then the teamfight comp goes to Baron and the Nash gets stolen, it 2 times,
you should win.
It should be over, yeah, because like what are they even doing? But as of like how they play, I think Roccat are like pretty good. It's hard to say. I think it's like same as like 6 other teams, you know. It's really hard to like tell them apart right now.
I mean, you bring it up, but I think it's good.
In the middle.
We can just go
exactly
right into the standings, because after today's results, Vitality are leading the LCS with 6 wins. They're followed by Giants. But then we get into the ever-exciting middle of the pack, your 4-3 or your 3-4. And there's a lot of big names here too, right? Fnatic, G2 Esports, Misfits all contesting. Splice, Schalke, Roccat not far behind. EU LCS is so, I don't want to say messy right now. There's no clear outstanders.
No, I mean, there's no clear top 6, and that's a good thing, because we've had other splits in Europe where very clearly there was like a top 6 or top 5 at least kind of locked in almost from the get-go. And then we had a bottom 4, which could just almost never beat the top teams. We had a split where they didn't beat, like where bottom 4 teams did not beat the top team until like week 8 of the split, and they got 1 win. Elements took like 1 win against one of the top 6 teams, I think against Unicorns. That was it. So it made games pretty boring in the sense that you could always be like, okay, this top 6 team is going to beat this bottom 4 team. We don't have that right now, because we have this massive group where it's impossible at the moment to predict who's actually going to end up in playoffs. And every win matters in a best of 1 with only 18 games in a split. If you start going on a losing streak as Schalke, suddenly, you end up outside top 6. Getting back in might be really difficult towards the end of the split, so you can't really afford to lose too many games when all these teams are so close, fighting for that playoff spot.
And Newtek, for you, do you kind of feel that pressure? Do you go into every matchup incredibly focused, feeling like these guys could take a game off you? Because in the past, I think you're right, we've seen top teams feeling pretty comfortable ignoring the bottom teams when it comes to prepping, but there's so few bottom teams and there's so many middle of the pack teams, it seems like it might be kind of difficult to prep for these best of ones.
I mean, for example, this week we played G2 and H2K, so like our main like prep is obviously towards G2. But we can't like take H2K too lightly, even though they have like their jungle mid thing going on there.
We can take them a little bit lightly at least, just a little bit.
To the rule, otherwise.
Yeah, but it's hard to tell, you know, from such a small sample size rather, who is actually, you know, the best teams, right? Because like as you see, for example, some of the Vitality games is like they backdoor and win, you know, like, and of course, like they're 6-1 and they're the best team, you know, but like if things happen a little bit differently, like they could like lose 2 more games, you know, and same for Unicorns or HDK winning some games. So I think it's like hard to say like the definitive strength of even like any of the teams.
All right, we'll get to see a little bit more as week 4 of the LCS does continue tomorrow, kicking off with Vitality versus Splyce. Freeze, I'm curious. You can see the matches to my for tomorrow behind you as I learn my words again. Which match are you the most excited for? What are you looking for here, Freeze?
I'm looking for the Caterham in the jungle, H2K versus Schalke with you on my left. And then obviously Fnatic and Giants. I want to see more from Giants, if they are actually the contenders of playoffs or not.
All right, let's just get the predictions while we're here. First off, let's talk H2K versus Schalke.
Ooh, that's probably an H2K. That must be an H2K.
I'm pretty sure like those Schalke guys will take it.
Okay.
All right, looks good. A little confident, but Fnatic versus Giants is the one I would mostly like to talk about. Nuke Duck, since you're not going to be here on the desk tomorrow, talk to me. Who do you actually think has the edge here from what we've seen so far?
I mean, Giants against Fnatic. I think Giants will win there.
There we go.
Yeah.
Set the same.
No, I expect Fnatic to win.
There you go. And you are also now saying Giant. Oh yeah, I guess you.
I said Giants and
you gotta stick with
quick
it.
shots. I have to stick to it.
All right. I'm excited to see. We're going to find out tomorrow, but over in North America, NALCS Academy is starting right after our show here in Berlin. TSM Academy versus Clutch Gaming Academy. That's a lot of academies, folks. And if it's their first matchup, so if you missed any of the ULCS games today, you can check them out in our rebroadcast following the action in Los Angeles. However, for now, it is time for us to call tonight. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Of course, excited to see who's going to be right in the prediction race tomorrow. But you guys can meet us back here tomorrow for more fights in the spring split. We'll see you then.
He pushes him right back in before he goes mini. Now Niski comes in to complete the gang squad. Instant first blood for the Splyce mid lane. Let's see if they survive this fight. Wamne is already going to pick off one, and Sheriff is out of there. Let's see how many members are going to last. HDK are dropping like flies here, I should say, as promised cubes. Splyce completely dominating H2K on the day. Gonna miss on the ultimate from Memento, but things are going pretty low. Gillies is gonna hop the pit. He's got a Cosmic Radiance on, and everyone's getting chunked low. Combo Shard gets North Scared. Everybody's health bars are starting to drop. That's a double for Combo Shard. 40-minute Vitality Squad. Memento looking to come in. Gonna get the spike. He can do it! Oh, Memento! You beautiful man! He stole it away. Already down to half the health. Narscarin going around the side. Memento looking to see if he can make it 2 for 2. He goes over the wall. The shuffle's not gonna happen again. He does it twice! Are you kidding me? Memento! Put the camera back into the Rocket Beast right now. We've got the longest game of the split, and Mini Truebax is looking to do it all alone. Oh, I can't believe it. Pops away, Ruin incredibly low, and Hansama is going to get target miss, but the rest of Giants have regrouped. They do lose 2. Will they lose another? It's going to be Betsy going down. A triple kill for the Azir, but then now Joko is going to bring Hansama back in. That's a double kill for Betsy, and Hans is isolated from the team. Giants, another triple kill for Betsy. That's the game. Giants are proving they are the real deal up against the Misfits, and as the Nexus falls, they gotta love it.
Then you can take a carry down.
Big flash, nah, one up, stun, White Knight. And Samus is going to open up as well. Reckless on the back line, White Knight jumps in. Reckless is down, Chaos is down, Fnatic are falling apart. He needs Cole, he needs Samus, he needs to hit the Nexus. Oh, Nuke Duck dodged this. Jumps back onto Perks, the Hexa Gunblade, and Perks is down. G2 have 1 kill, Wonder takes the chunk as well. Jankos there, let's bounce, brings Upset back, and he's going to get taken out. It's a double kill for G2. The G2 are not going to let him have it. They take him out, and they take the Nexus.